weather forecast for Sunday, December 21st, a day that brings us the winter solstice. And with that, some wintry weather. A pocket of snow developing across the prairies late today into tomorrow gradually makes its way further east in the days ahead. We'll be talking about that. And the temperatures. Now, the cold continues to be a big factor for the prairies. Now, southern areas will be benefiting from some more mild air, but for those not as close to the border, we'll be locking into some pretty cold temperatures in the days ahead. First, in British Columbia, we continue to see this active pattern. Another round of moisture into our Monday, continuing to bring the rain and the snowfall at higher elevations. So look at through Wednesday, some of the snowfall forecast, and that looks to be continuing to be a factor. Now, the wind looks to be also getting a bit breezy into the day tomorrow, so we'll look out for a windy start to the work week. And with that, temperatures for our Sunday afternoon getting up to a high of 7 for areas like Vancouver, and that temperature pattern slowly cooling off. Now, for Christmas Day, 4 degrees, the forecast high for Vancouver, with some wet snow expected and fairly active conditions. But for Kelowna, looks like a temperature just a bit above that freezing mark for Christmas Day, with some snow in the forecast, albeit likely a heavy wet snow at that. Let's talk about the snowfall story across the prairies, and this is really starting to develop later on today and looks to have quite an impact potentially for our Monday morning. There's that overnight pocket of snow for more northern sections of Alberta into parts of Saskatchewan, but things really start to organize as we look into our Monday afternoon and evening, moving across the region. So another factor here is the icy precipitation. So you can look into early Monday into the afternoon. We do have that risk of some freezing rain, even ice pellets for southern parts of the prairies. We'll be keeping an eye on that and any travel implications. And as far as tomorrow's temperatures, we can see things will be cooling off in southern areas with that snowfall for Regina, Saskatoon, all the way into Manitoba and for Winnipeg. Now, temperature-wise, as I mentioned, some areas will be getting the benefit of mild air further south. Calgary showing quite a temperature roller coaster. -20 the high for tomorrow, 0 on Tuesday, and then -16 for Wednesday. So a pretty rapid up and down forecast there temperature-wise. Edmonton helping to illustrate that, yes, some are going to be locking into the cool pattern without that relief from the cold. Now, as far as Ontario and Quebec, yeah, that prairie system, it's going to be bringing some snowfall. We can see all the way through Wednesday, 15 centimeters seems to be on the upper end of how much snow we could get with this, but we're already dealing with some of that snow on our Sunday morning, especially into parts of Quebec as well as Quebec City. Beyond that, things will start to kind of taper off into our afternoon. Some lake effect snowfall in parts of southern Ontario, and that may continue on Monday for some until we welcome the kind of main event here for our snowfall. Tuesday morning, we could see some difficult travel conditions as we are getting indications of some heavier pockets of snow, even some rain showers for some, with temperatures being more mild. It looks like we could be getting some of that mixing. And into our Tuesday afternoon, things really shifting over to Ottawa and southern Quebec by the looks of it, as well as for northeastern Ontario. Now, it's been very windy, and that looks to continue for our Sunday. A bit breezy for tomorrow, but it looks like the weekend has brought the stronger gusts for us. And this afternoon, looking at colder than usual temperatures, ever so slightly for many in Ontario. And for Quebec, there's that Sunday snowfall that we're talking about. And just to get a little more granular with how the snow's playing out today, you can see by the afternoon, many will be getting that relief. But we do have another system, as we've been talking about, on the way as we look into our Tuesday morning, starting to encroach, and by the afternoon, could be making for a challenging drive home from work on the 23rd. Meanwhile, for Montreal, our 7-day forecast is showing that, yes, things will be looking a little cold by Boxing Day, and for Christmas Day, -4 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Meanwhile, for Toronto, Christmas Day, we have cloudy skies and a 30% chance of showers. And for Ottawa, we're looking at mostly cloudy conditions. Snowfall looks to be delayed until Boxing Day. Now, Atlantic Canada, the wind in the past 24 hours has been very strong. We had at its peak around 100,000 or more customers without power in Nova Scotia. It was a busy Saturday for crews restoring power. Still windy today, but not quite as intense as what we saw earlier in our weekend. Meanwhile, we are dealing with some active weather today with mild temperatures in the Maritimes. Got some rain rainfall now for Newfoundland into the morning and afternoon. We see mostly snow, but then later into the day that rainfall pushes into Newfoundland with some sea effect snow continuing. And then we'll wait until Wednesday for that snowy system moving across the prairies into Ontario and Quebec, finally midweek arriving into Atlantic Canada for Christmas Eve. For this afternoon, a look at our mild temperatures for the Maritimes, and for the 7-day for St. John's, a cold Christmas Eve before some potential snowflakes on Christmas Day. And for Halifax, our Christmas Day looking mostly cloudy with a high of -3.